Even though things have been pretty quiet on the Red Notice 2 front for a while, fans of the action-packed Netflix hit can take comfort in knowing the sequel is still being talked about and it might be bringing some fresh faces along for the ride. Ever since Red Notice dropped in November 2021, it's been one of Netflix's biggest original films. Despite the lukewarm critical response, it sits at just 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences showed up in massive numbers. The movie racked up over 453 million watch hours, which made it a no-brainer for Netflix to explore follow-ups. It starred three of the most bankable names in Hollywood: Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot, playing a mismatched trio in the middle of a globe-trotting art heist. It had twists, witty banter, elaborate cons, and the kind of glossy production you expect from a $200 million blockbuster. The response was clear. Red Notice wasn't just a movie, it was built to launch a franchise. Fast forward to June 2023, and Gal Gadot finally gave fans something solid to hold on to. During Netflix's Tudum fan event, she revealed that Red Notice 2 is indeed still in the works, and more importantly, that a finished script already exists. She described the script as exciting and said that everyone involved was thrilled about the story. That's the most substantial update fans had heard in months, especially since things had gone pretty quiet since the film's original release. But Gadot's comments confirmed what many were hoping: the wheels are turning behind the scenes. Even with Gadot's hopeful update, Red Notice 2 still hasn't been officially confirmed by Netflix. There's no green light announcement, release window, or production start date. That uncertainty has lingered, but according to the film's producers Beau Flynn and Hiram Garcia, Red Notice 2 and Red Notice 3 were both part of a larger plan right from the beginning. In fact, back in late 2022, they even mentioned the possibility of filming both sequels back-to-back, depending on the scripts and the schedules of the core cast. So, the intent to expand this world is there. The only thing holding it back, it seems, is timing and possibly a bit of drama. One of the potential speed bumps? Reports surfaced in 2024 that Dwayne Johnson and Ryan Reynolds weren't exactly on speaking terms after a heated moment on set. Apparently, The Rock had developed a bit of a reputation for arriving late to filming, sometimes by hours. One day on the Red Notice set, he reportedly showed up 5 hours late, and Reynolds had had enough. Words were exchanged, and the two reportedly didn't speak for a long time afterward. That tension may explain why the sequel has been delayed for so long, despite its massive success. If the two leading men weren't willing to work together again, the whole franchise would be in limbo. However, more recent reports suggest they've patched things up. But even though they've reconciled personally, that doesn't necessarily mean they've agreed to work together again. That's still the big question mark hanging over Red Notice 2. Gal Gadot, who plays the clever and mysterious Sarah Black, aka the Bishop, seems all in for a return. She's the only main cast member who's openly talked about the sequel in public, and since her character ended the first movie in a strong position, successfully pulling off the heist and teaming up with Hartley, it would make sense for her to be a core part of the next mission. Then there's Ritu Arya, who played Interpol agent Urvashi Das. Given how things ended with her character issuing a red notice for all three leads, she'll likely have a bigger role chasing them down in the sequel. As for Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson, assuming they can align their schedules and put aside any lingering tension, they're almost certainly locked in for round 2. Both are producers on the project, and their characters Booth and Hartley are key to the film's chemistry. The ending of Red Notice practically begs for a sequel. Booth surprises Hartley and Black, revealing he's frozen their offshore accounts as payback for betraying him. He proposes a new deal. Join him for one more heist, and he'll give them access to their fortune. It's the perfect setup: 3 anti-heroes forced to team up for a job that's even bigger, riskier, and probably more chaotic than the last one. Plus, with Interpol still hot on their trail, they're going to be navigating this new job while being hunted globally. The sequel could raise the stakes by introducing new exotic locations, even more intricate cons, and possibly bringing in other heist crews or rivals to shake things up. There's another interesting layer to all this. With such a massive global audience and a proven formula, Red Notice 2 is the perfect opportunity to expand the cast. Rumors are already swirling that a new star might join the trio in the next chapter, and the possibilities are wide open. So who could be that fresh face? The film already has a strong international flavor, so Netflix might lean into that and bring in a star with global appeal. Someone like Pedro Pascal, who's on fire thanks to The Mandalorian and The Last of Us, could slide into a new rival role, or maybe a double-crossing insider. Or perhaps an action star like Henry Golding or Jessica Henwick, who've both proven they can handle physical roles with style and wit. Alternatively, a comedic wildcard like Awkwafina could be a fun addition, giving the trio a fourth member to bounce off of, or even a foil who's always one step ahead. Bringing in a fresh voice or character dynamic could refresh the tone and help avoid the sequel feeling like a rehash. Even though the first film was a streaming juggernaut, it had its fair share of criticism. Some viewers thought the plot leaned too heavily on familiar tropes, and others felt the twist-heavy structure tried a little too hard. But sequels have the benefit of building on what worked and trimming what didn't. Now that the characters and relationships are established, Red Notice 2 can dive into deeper character development, more daring heists, and even wilder locations. The setup is done, so the sequel doesn't need to waste time explaining who's who. Instead, it can focus on sharpening the action, the humor, and the stakes. With the right new addition to the cast and the original trio firing on all cylinders, Red Notice 2 could be a smoother, smarter ride than its predecessor. Despite the delays, drama, and lack of official confirmation, Red Notice 2 still feels like a when, not an if. Netflix wants it, the fans want it, and the original team already has a script in hand. And let's not forget that Netflix is always on the lookout for big franchise bets, and this one already has the numbers to back it up. If the stars can align, literally, and The Rock, Reynolds, and Gadot all jump back in, the sequel could launch the franchise to even greater heights. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below, so let me know what you'd like to see next. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop, especially if you want more updates on Red Notice 2. Plus, I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's topic, so drop a comment and let's discuss. Now, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You know you want to.